The air aboard the invisible hand thrummed with tension as lightsabers clashed, their hum reverberating through the Separatist flagship's opulent chambers. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi battled Count Dooku with relentless determination, their blades a blur of blue and green against the Sith Lord's crimson. The galaxy's fate hung in the balance above Coruscant, where the two Jedi had come to rescue Chancellor Palpatine. Anakin fought with the fire fueled by memory, Dooku's role in the war, the loss of his arm on Geonosis, the countless soldiers fallen to the Separatist cause. As the duel intensified, Anakin's skill and raw power overwhelmed Dooku. With a deft twist, he disarmed the Sith Lord, sending the curved hilt skittering across the floor. Dooku dropped to his knees, hands raised, his gaze steadied despite defeat. "Kill him!" Palpatine urged from his shackled position nearby, his voice sharp and commanding. "He's too dangerous to be left alive." Anakin's lightsaber hovered at Dooku's throat, the blue glow illuminating the older man's features. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, his pulse racing. Vengeance beckoned, a dark whisper promising satisfaction. But then, unbidden, Padme's voice echoed in his mind. A quiet evening on Naboo, her words soft yet firm. "Compassion is what makes us Jedi, Anakin. It's the light that holds back the dark." He hesitated, glancing at Palpatine, whose eyes glinted with an intensity Anakin couldn't place. Then back to Dooku, silent and expectant. "No," Anakin said, his voice resolute. "It's not the Jedi way to kill an unarmed prisoner." Palpatine's expression flickered. Displeasure quickly veiled. "Very well, Anakin," he said, his tone smooth. "Your mercy is admirable. Now let us depart." Anakin deactivated his lightsaber and bound Dooku's wrists with restraints. As they escorted the Sith Lord to an escape pod, a strange certainty settled in Anakin's chest. He had chosen the path of the Jedi, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that this act would ripple far beyond this moment. Back on Coruscant, Count Dooku was confined in a high-security cell, surrounded by force fields and guarded by clone troopers. The Jedi Council gathered in their tower, the city's skyline a glittering backdrop to their grave discussion. Mace Windu paced, his presence commanding. Dooku's capture is a victory, but he remains a threat. His knowledge could aid us, yet his cunning could undo us. Yoda's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Interrogate him we must, but cautious we should be. The dark side speaks through him. Anakin, standing apart, stepped forward. "I think we should keep him alive. He might know something about the Sith Master, something we can use to end this war." Ki-Adi-Mundi regarded him skeptically. "You spared him, Skywalker. A noble act, perhaps, but he's a Sith Lord. His words will be poison." "I know the risks," Anakin replied, meeting their gazes. "But if there's a chance to uncover the truth, we can't ignore it." After deliberation, the Council agreed to interrogate Dooku under strict oversight, assigning multiple Jedi to monitor him. In his cell, Dooku sat cross-legged, meditating. Death had seemed certain aboard the Invisible Hand, yet Anakin's mercy had spared him. As a former Jedi turned Sith, he recognized the anomaly in the young man's choice. An opportunity glimmered in the shadows of his captivity, a chance to shift the game. Days later, Dooku requested a private meeting with Anakin. The Council, wary but curious, permitted it under heavy security. Anakin entered the interrogation chamber, the force field humming between him and the Sith Lord. "You wanted to see me?" Anakin asked, arms crossed. Dooku offered a faint, enigmatic smile. "I wish to express gratitude, Skywalker. Sparing me was unexpected." "I didn't do it for you," Anakin snapped. "I did it for the Jedi Code." "Indeed," Dooku said, his tone smooth as silk. "But have you asked yourself why Palpatine pressed so hard for my death?" Anakin's brow furrowed. "He wanted justice." "Justice?" Dooku's laugh was dry. "Or silence? The Chancellor hides more than you know, young Jedi. He orchestrates this war, pulling strings on both sides." "You're lying," Anakin said, though his voice wavered slightly. "Am I?" Dooku leaned closer to the force field. "Who gains from endless conflict? Who rises as the Jedi falter, distracted by battles across the stars? I was once a Jedi. I see their flaws, but I also see Palpatine's game." Anakin's fists tightened. "The Chancellor's a friend. He's fighting for the Republic. Dooku sighed, almost pityingly. Your loyalty blinds you, but the truth will surface, Skywalker. It always does. The words lingered as Anakin left, reporting the exchange to the Council. They dismissed it as manipulation, but a sliver of doubt took root in Anakin's mind, sharp and persistent. One night, as Anakin exited the prison after another uneasy visit, alarms shattered the silence. An explosion shook the facility, followed by blaster fire. Anakin ignited his lightsaber and raced to Dooku's cell. Masked assailants in black swarmed the area, their attacks precise and ruthless. Anakin fought back, deflecting bolts and striking down foes. As the last attacker fell, a glinting object caught his eye. A Jedi lightsaber hilt dropped in the fray. After securing the scene, Anakin inspected it. The design was unmistakable, though records later confirmed it had been lost in battle months prior. The implications chilled him. The incident sparked outrage. Rumors flew that the Jedi had tried to silence Dooku, a claim Mace Windu refuted before the Senate. "We seek truth, not murder," he declared, but suspicion festered among the public. Anakin, present during the attack, wrestled with questions. Why frame the Jedi? Who benefited from this chaos? Against the Council's orders, he vowed to investigate, sensing a deeper conspiracy. Intelligence soon revealed a separatist plan to free Dooku, a bold strike aimed at the prison. The Republic reinforced defenses, but the threat loomed large. Anakin volunteered to lead the protection detail. "I know Dooku," he argued. "I can predict his moves." Obi-Wan nodded in support. He's right. Anakin's insight could be key. The Council, though hesitant, approved. As security tightened, Anakin felt the burden of his choice to spare Dooku. He had set this in motion. Now he had to see it through. The Separatist assault struck at dawn, droid ships piercing Coruscant's defenses. The prison became a battlefield, clones and Jedi clashing with mechanical foes. Anakin led the defense, his lightsaber a beacon amid the chaos. As fighting raged, Dooku broke free, using the Force to shatter his restraints. Anakin intercepted him in the courtyard. "Going somewhere?" Anakin challenged, blade raised. Dooku smirked. "Merely testing your resolve, Skywalker." Their duel was fierce, a dance of power and precision. Anakin's strength prevailed, forcing Dooku back into custody. As the Separatists retreated, Anakin secured the Sith Lord and noticed a datapad among his effects. Decoded later, it revealed messages plotting Dooku's elimination, messages tied to Palpatine. Anakin's heart raced. Was Dooku right? He needed answers. Anakin confronted Palpatine in his office, presenting the datapad. "Explain this," he demanded. Palpatine studied it, unruffled. "A forgery, Anakin. The Separatists seek to divide us." "It's from Dooku's device," Anakin pressed. "Easily planted," Palpatine replied, his voice soothing. "Don't let lies sway you. Trust me. We'll save the Republic together." Anakin left torn. Palpatine's words rang hollow against the evidence. Seeking clarity, he turned to Padme. "I don't know who's telling the truth," he confessed, pacing their apartment. "Everyone's playing me." Padme squeezed his hand. "Trust your heart, Anakin. It's your strength." He nodded, resolve hardening. As he gazed at Coruscant's lights, he knew the truth lay ahead, shrouded but within reach. His journey had just begun. The flickering blue glow of the datapad cast long shadows across Anakin Skywalker's quarters, the only light in the otherwise dim room. The soft hum of the device filled the silence as Anakin sat hunched over it, his fingers tracing the screen. Lines of encrypted text scrolled before his eyes, messages he'd recovered from Count Dooku's belongings after the Sith Lord's capture. His brow furrowed, a storm of thoughts brewing beneath the surface. He paused on one message, its cryptic phrasing gnawing at him. It appeared to be a communication between Chancellor Palpatine and a Separatist commander, arranging a clandestine meeting on an outer rim planet. The words were veiled in code, but the implications were unmistakable. If Palpatine was conspiring with the enemy, the Republic itself was at risk. Anakin's pulse quickened, his breath shallow as he wrestled with his possibility. Palpatine? A traitor? The thought felt absurd, yet the evidence in his hands demanded consideration. The Chancellor had been his mentor, his confidant, guiding him through the chaos of a war. But Dooku's words lingered in his mind, a venomous whisper from their last encounter. "You'll see, Skywalker. The truth is closer than you think." Anakin powered down the datapad and leaned back, rubbing his temples. He couldn't accuse Palpatine. Not yet. The stakes were too high, and a misstep could fracture the Republic's fragile unity. For now, he'd keep this discovery to himself, a secret burning in his chest as he planned his next move. He needed proof, irrefutable proof, before he could act. The datapad went into a hidden compartment beneath his bunk, its secrets locked away. But sleep eluded him that night, the weight of suspicion pressing down like a leaden shroud. The Republic's high-security prison loomed like a monolith on Coruscant's surface, its durasteel walls gleaming under the artificial lights. Anakin navigated the labyrinth of corridors, passing through security checkpoints manned by stern-faced clone troopers. His Jedi robes billowed behind him, a stark contrast to the cold, sterile environment. He reached Count Dooku's cell, a reinforced chamber sealed by a shimmering force field. Inside, the Sith Lord sat cross-legged on the floor, his silver hair catching the faint light. His eyes were closed, his posture serene, as if he were meditating rather than imprisoned. At Anakin's approach, Dooku's eyes snapped open, a faint smile curling his lips. "Skywalker," Dooku said, his voice smooth as silk. "I wondered when curiosity would bring you here." Anakin stopped before the force field, his arms crossed. "I'm not here for games, Dooku. I need answers. What do you know about Palpatine?" Dooku's smile widened, a predator's gleam in his eyes. "So, the seeds of doubt have taken root. Palpatine is not the benevolent leader he pretends to be. He's a puppeteer, pulling strings on both sides of this war." Anakin's jaw tightened. "You expect me to believe you? A Sith Lord who's spent years trying to destroy the Republic?" Dooku chuckled, the sound low and mocking. "My motives are irrelevant. I'm a captive, powerless, save for the truth I can offer. Palpatine is the real threat, Skywalker. A Sith Lord hiding in plain sight, orchestrating chaos to seize absolute power." The word struck Anakin like a blow, resonating with the datapad's cryptic messages. He leaned closer, his voice dropping. "Prove it. Give me something I can use." Dooku tilted his head, studying Anakin with unsettling intensity. "He's been grooming you, hasn't he? Feeding your ambition, stoking your anger. He wants you as his apprentice to replace me. The assassination attempt was a test of your loyalty, your strength." Anakin's fists clenched, his mechanical hand whirring faintly. "You're lying. Palpatine's been my friend." "Friendship is a tool for men like him," Dooku replied. "Search the datapad. You'll find messages from Sidious, his true name. Cross-reference them with Republic intelligence. The evidence is there if you dare to look." Anakin's mind raced. Sidious. The name echoed through years of Jedi briefings, a shadowy figure behind the Separatist movement. Could Palpatine truly be this phantom? He wanted to dismiss Dooku's claims, but the doubt gnawed at him, relentless and insistent. "I'll find the truth myself," Anakin said, turning to leave. "But if you're playing me, Dooku, you'll regret it." Dooku's voice followed him, soft and ominous. "The truth will find you, Skywalker. It always does." Days later, chaos erupted across the galaxy. The Separatists launched a sudden, ferocious assault on Alderaan, a key Republic world known for its pacifist ideals. The attack was unrelenting. Droid armies descended in waves, their ships darkening the skies. The Jedi Council dispatched a task force, with Anakin at its head, to repel the invasion. As he piloted his starfighter into the fray, Anakin's instincts screamed that something was off. The Separatist strategy was too bold, too reckless for a planet of little military value. He barked orders to his squadron, weaving through enemy fire, but his focus wavered. A nagging sense of unease tugged at him through the Force. Then it came, a faint, desperate ripple from Coruscant. The Jedi Temple was under attack. "Turn back!" Anakin shouted into his comms, banking his fighter sharply. "It's a diversion! The Temple's the real target!" His squadron followed, racing through hyperspace to reach the capital, but they arrived too late. Smoke billowed from the Temple's spires, its ancient halls scarred by blaster fire. Anakin landed amidst the wreckage, his lightsaber igniting as he charged into the chaos. Droids swarmed the corridors, their metallic clanking drowned out by the hum of his blade. He fought with relentless fury, cutting through their ranks, but the damage was done. The Separatists had breached the Temple's archives, stealing sensitive data before retreating. Jedi lay wounded or dead, their blood staining the sacred ground. Anakin knelt beside a fallen knight, his chest tight with grief and rage. The attack had been surgical, possible only with inside knowledge. His thoughts turned to the datapad, to Palpatine's supposed messages. Could the Chancellor have orchestrated this? He rose, determination hardening his features. He needed answers, and he'd get them, no matter the cost. The Chancellor's office was a bastion of power, its towering windows framing Coruscant's endless sprawl. Palpatine sat behind his desk, his hands steepled, his expression one of practiced concern. Anakin stormed in, the datapad clutched in his hand, his emotions a tangled storm. "Anakin, my boy," Palpatine said, his voice warm. "You look troubled. What's happened?" Anakin slammed the datapad onto the desk, his eyes blazing. The temple was attacked. The Separatists knew exactly where to hit us. Someone gave them that information. Palpatine's brow furrowed, his gaze shifting to the device. A tragedy, indeed. But surely you don't think... "I think it was you," Anakin cut in, his voice sharp as a vibroblade. "This datapad has messages. Your messages to the Separatists." Palpatine picked up the datapad, his fingers tracing its edges as he studied the screen. After a long moment he sighed and set it down. "A clever forgery. The Separatists are desperate to sow discord, Anakin. They'd frame me to weaken the Republic." Anakin's frustration flared. "Why would they target you? You're the Chancellor!" Palpatine leaned back, his eyes narrowing slightly. "To destabilize us, to turn allies against each other. You're a Jedi, Anakin. Surely you see the logic in their deception." The words were smooth, reasonable, but they didn't quell the fire in Anakin's chest. "I've trusted you," he said, his voice trembling, "but the evidence keeps piling up. If you're innocent, help me prove it." Palpatine's smile was faint, almost paternal. "I will in time, but be wary, Anakin. Doubt is a weapon, and not everyone wields it for your benefit." Anakin left the office, his mind a battlefield of conflicting loyalties. Palpatine's calm denial clashed with Dooku's accusations, leaving him stranded in uncertainty. He needed more, something concrete to tip the scales. The Jedi Council chamber was a circle of judgment, its high windows casting beams of light onto the stone floor. Anakin stood before the Masters, their gazes heavy with scrutiny. Mace Windu stepped forward, his presence commanding. "Your actions concern us, Anakin," Windu said, his tone stern. "Your visits to Dooku, your obsession with this conspiracy, it's clouding your judgment." Anakin bristled, his hands balling into fists. "I'm trying to protect the Order. Dooku knows things about Palpatine, about the war." "Dangerous that path is," Yoda interjected, his ears drooping slightly. "A Sith Lord's words, twisted they can be. Trust in the Force, you must." Windu nodded. "Dooku's a manipulator, Anakin. He'll use you to escape or worse. Leave this to the Council." Anakin's anger surged. "The Council's doing nothing! The temple's in ruins, and Palpatine might be behind it! We can't just sit here!" Windu's eyes hardened. "Enough. Your duty is to the Order, not to chase shadows. You're dismissed." Anakin stormed out, his boots echoing in the empty halls. The Council's reprimand stung, isolating him further. They saw him as reckless, but he saw them as blind. If they wouldn't act, he'd find the truth alone, or with whatever allies he could muster. Unknown to the Jedi, Dooku had been busy in his cell. His captivity was a facade, his mind weaving subtle threads of influence through the Force. He'd clouded the guards' thoughts, sowing confusion, while his Separatist allies prepared his extraction. Late one night, Anakin awoke to a jolt in the Force, a sharp, discordant note of danger. He leapt from his bunk, lightsaber in hand, and raced to the prison. The corridors were eerily silent, the air thick with tension. He reached Dooku's cell and froze. The force field was offline, its hum replaced by the stillness of defeat. The guards lay slumped, unconscious, and Dooku was gone. Anakin's rage erupted, a snarl escaping his lips. Dooku's escape was a blow to his investigation, a taunt from the Sith Lord. He contacted the temple, alerting them to the breach, then set out to hunt his quarry. Dooku wouldn't slip away so easily, not while Anakin still breathed. His search led him to Coruscant's Undercity, a maze of neon-lit streets and shadowed alleys. In a grimy cantina, he found Dooku seated at a corner table, cloaked in darkness but unmistakable. The Sith Lord looked up as Anakin approached, his expression one of mild amusement. "Persistent as ever, Skywalker," Dooku said. "I knew you'd track me." Anakin ignited his lightsaber, its blue glow cutting through the gloom. "You're coming back with me. Now!" Dooku raised a hand, unshaken. "Oh, we could work together. I have proof. Palpatine's plans, his true identity. Help me, and we'll end this charade." Anakin's blade wavered. "You expect me to trust you after you ran?" "I expect you to see reason," Dooku replied. "Palpatine's too strong alone. The Jedi won't help you. They're too entrenched in their dogma. I'm your only path to the truth." The logic was cold, compelling. Anakin hated Dooku, but he needed him. With a reluctant growl, he lowered his weapon. "One wrong move and you're dead." Dooku's smile was thin. A fair bargain. Together they delved into the Undercity, following leads to a hidden Separatist safe house. There they uncovered transmissions linking Palpatine to the Temple attack, orders signed with the name Sidious. Each revelation tightened the noose around Anakin's faith in the Chancellor. Their investigation culminated beneath the Senate, in a secret chamber lined with data terminals. Anakin and Dooku sliced into the system, uncovering a trove of files. Palpatine's Sith identity, his funding of the Separatists, his scheme to dismantle the Jedi and crown himself Emperor. Anakin's hands shook as he read, the truth crashing over him like a tidal wave. "He's been lying to me, to everyone," he whispered, his voice raw. Dooku stood beside him, silent but triumphant. "Now you see. He must be stopped." Before Anakin could respond, the chamber's doors exploded inward. Clone troopers stormed in, blasters leveled. "Drop your weapons!" their commander barked. Anakin whirled, lightsaber igniting, but froze as a figure stepped into view. Obi-Wan Kenobi, his face etched with sorrow. "Anakin, stand down," Obi-Wan said. "The Council sent me. You're under arrest for treason." The word treason cut deeper than any blade. "Obi-Wan, you don't understand. Palpatine's the traitor. Look at the evidence." Obi-Wan's gaze flickered to the terminals, then back to Anakin. "The Council believes you have been compromised. Dooku's escape, your alliance with him, it's too much." Anakin glanced at Dooku, who remained calm, almost expectant. "Trust no one," the Sith murmured, echoing his earlier warning. The troopers advanced, and Anakin's world narrowed to a single choice: fight his mentor or surrender to a lie. His lightsaber hummed, a beacon of defiance as the chamber descended into chaos. The air in the secret chamber beneath the Senate was thick with tension. Anakin Skywalker stood, lightsaber humming in his hand, its blue glow casting sharp shadows across the faces of Obi-Wan Kenobi and the clone troopers surrounding him. Beside him, Count Dooku, the former Jedi and Sith Lord, held his own crimson blade at the ready. The datapad clutched in Anakin's other hand felt heavier than ever, proof of Palpatine's treachery, yet useless if he couldn't make anyone believe him. "Obi-Wan, please!" Anakin said, his voice raw with desperation. "You have to listen to me. Palpatine is the Sith Lord we've been searching for. He's orchestrated this war from the start." Obi-Wan's face was a mask of resolve, though a flicker of doubt danced in his blue eyes. "Anakin, you've been deceived. Dooku is a Sith. He's manipulating you. Surrender now, and we can sort this out." Dooku let out a low, mocking chuckle. "Ah, the ever-loyal Kenobi. Blind to the truth, as always." Anakin tightened his grip on his lightsaber, his mechanical hand whirring faintly. "I have proof, Obi-Wan. The datapad. It's got messages, orders, everything. Palpatine framed the assassination attempt on himself to turn us against each other." A clone trooper, helmet gleaming under the dim lights, stepped forward. "General Skywalker, you're under arrest for treason against the Republic. Drop your weapon." Anakin's eyes darted around the room. The clone's blasters were trained on him. Obi-Wan's stance was unyielding, and the walls seemed to close in. He couldn't fight Obi-Wan, not his brother, his mentor, but surrender meant handing Palpatine the victory. He needed to get out, to expose the truth. Before he could decide, Dooku acted. With a flick of his wrist, a crackling arc of Force lightning erupted from his fingertips, striking the clone troopers. They convulsed, armor clattering as they collapsed, stunned. "Run, Skywalker!" Dooku shouted, turning to face Obi-Wan. Anakin hesitated, the clash of lightsabers ringing out behind him as Obi-Wan engaged Dooku. Then, driven by instinct, he bolted for the exit. His boots pounded against the stone floor, echoing through the winding corridors of the Senate building. Alarms blared as he reached the main level, red lights flashing in sync with his racing heartbeat. More clone troopers appeared, blasters firing in deadly unison. Anakin deflected the bolts with sweeping arcs of his lightsaber, the force surging through him as he pushed the troopers back. He burst onto a landing platform, spotting a sleek speeder parked unattended. Without a second thought, he leapt into the driver's seat, fingers flying over the controls. The engine roared to life, and he shot into the sky, weaving through Coruscant's endless streams of traffic. Behind him, Republic gunships lifted off in pursuit, their searchlights cutting through the dusk. Anakin gritted his teeth, diving into the lower levels of the city planet. The neon-lit canyons of buildings blurred past as he navigated the labyrinthine depths, shaking his pursuers after several heart-pounding minutes. He landed the speeder in a shadowed alley, slumping against the seat to catch his breath. He was a fugitive now, branded a traitor by the Jedi and the Republic. The datapad's evidence burned in his mind. Palpatine was Darth Sidious, the puppet master of this war. But who would believe him? The Jedi Council saw him as reckless, untrustworthy. Obi-Wan thought him deceived. He needed an ally, someone with influence. Padme. His wife, a senator with the power to challenge Palpatine politically. She was his only hope. Anakin ditched the speeder and moved on foot, sticking to the shadows of Coruscant's undercity. The air was thick with the stench of oil and decay, a stark contrast to the gleaming spires above. He found a public comm booth in a seedy district, its flickering screen barely functional. Using his mechanical arms interface, he hacked the system to make an untraceable call to Padme's private line. After a few tense rings, her hologram shimmered into view, her dark eyes wide with alarm. "Anakin! Where are you? The holonet is saying you're a fugitive!" "Padme, listen," he said, keeping his voice low. "It's all lies. Palpatine is the Sith Lord. He's been playing both sides of the war. I have proof, but the Jedi won't listen. They're hunting me now." Her hand flew to her mouth. "What? That can't be! Palpatine is the Chancellor. He's been fighting to save the Republic." "I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. I need your help. Can you meet me somewhere safe?" She hesitated, then nodded firmly. "There's a safe house I use for confidential meetings in the industrial district. I'll send you the coordinates." "Thank you, Padme. I love you." "I love you too. Be careful." The call ended, and Anakin memorized the coordinates, erasing the call log before stepping back into the night. As he moved through the Undercity's maze of pipes and flickering signs, a ripple in the Force made him pause. Someone was following him. He turned a corner and ignited his lightsaber, its blue glow illuminating a cloaked figure. "Who are you?" he demanded. The figure stepped forward, lowering his hood to reveal Count Dooku's sharp features. "Calm yourself, Skywalker. I'm not here to fight." Anakin kept his blade raised. "How did you escape?" Dooku smirked. "Your former master is skilled, but I have my ways. I knew you'd need assistance." "Why are you helping me?" "Because we share a common enemy. Palpatine intends to destroy us both. Together we can stop him." Anakin studied Dooku, sensing no immediate deception. He didn't trust the Sith Lord, but he was alone, cornered. "Fine," he said, lowering his weapon slightly. "But if you betray me, I won't hesitate to kill you." Dooku inclined his head. "Understood. Now let's find a way to expose Palpatine." They made their way to the safe house, a drab building nestled among the industrial district's factories. Padme waited inside, her face paling as she rushed to embrace Anakin, then froze upon seeing Dooku. "What's he doing here?" she asked, stepping back. "He's helping me for now," Anakin said. "We need to work together to stop Palpatine." Padme's eyes narrowed, but she didn't argue. Anakin showed her the datapad explaining the evidence. Coded messages, plans linking Palpatine to the Separatists, proof he'd orchestrated the temple attack. Her expression hardened with each revelation. "If this is true, we need to bring it to the Senate," she said. "But Palpatine has too much support. We need undeniable proof." Dooku spoke, his voice smooth yet commanding. "There is a secret archive in Palpatine's office. It contains records of his dealings as Sidious. If we access it, we can broadcast the truth to the galaxy." Anakin nodded. "Then that's our plan. We infiltrate the Senate, get to his office, and retrieve the archive." "It won't be easy," Padme warned. "Security's tighter than ever with you being hunted." "We'll find a way," Anakin said, his jaw set. "We have to." They spent hours in the safe house, devising a strategy. Padme would use her senatorial clearance to get them into the Senate building. Once inside, Anakin and Dooku would slip away to Palpatine's office while Padme distracted the guards with a fabricated meeting. They gathered cloaks as disguises, Anakin concealing his Jedi robes, Dooku masking his aristocratic bearing. During a quiet moment as Padme gathered supplies, Anakin turned to Dooku. "Why are you really doing this? What's in it for you?" Dooku sighed, his gaze distant. "I was once a Jedi like you. I saw the Republic's corruption, the Jedi Order's stagnation. I joined the Sith to force change, believing Palpatine shared my vision, but he seeks only power, absolute tyranny. If he succeeds, the galaxy suffers, and I am discarded. He wants you as his apprentice, Skywalker." Anakin's eyes narrowed. "I'm not going to be his apprentice?" Dooku's lips twitched into a faint smile. "That's what I admire about you. You have strength, a will to defy. Perhaps together we can forge a new path, beyond Jedi or Sith." Anakin didn't reply, but Dooku's words lingered, resonating with his own disillusionment. The Jedi had cast him out. Palpatine had betrayed him. Where did he belong? The next day, they executed their plan. Padme entered the Senate building with Anakin and Dooku posing as her aides, their cloaks hiding their identities. Her status breezed them through security, though Anakin felt the weight of every glance from the guards. Once inside, Padme headed to a meeting with senators, while Anakin and Dooku ascended to the upper levels. They encountered a patrol, but Dooku extended a hand, his voice low and commanding. "You see nothing unusual here." The guards blinked, then moved on, their minds clouded by the Force. At Palpatine's office, the door was sealed with a heavy lock. Anakin sliced through it with his lightsaber, and the metal hissing as it parted. Inside, the room was a study in opulence. Polished desk, shelves of artifacts, a view of Coruscant's skyline. They searched for the archive. "Check for a hidden compartment," Dooku said. Anakin reached out with the Force, sensing a disturbance behind a painting of a Naboo landscape. He removed it, revealing a safe. "Can you open it?" Dooku examined the lock, then closed his eyes, the Force flowing through him. The mechanism clicked after tense minutes, and the safe swung open. Inside glowed a red holocron, Sidious's archive. "This is it," Dooku said, lifting it carefully. Before Anakin could take it, the door exploded inward and clone troopers stormed in, blasters blazing. Anakin and Dooku deflected the barrage, but the numbers were overwhelming. "We need to get out!" Anakin shouted. They fought to the corridor, but more troopers blocked their path. Spotting a window, Anakin made a split-second decision. "Jump!" They leapt, the Force cushioning their fall into a passing speeder. It swerved under their weight, but Anakin seized the controls, accelerating away as Republic ships pursued. He pushed the speeder to its limits, dodging through traffic until they lost their hunters. They landed in an abandoned warehouse where Padme awaited, having slipped away from the Senate. "Did you get it?" she asked. Anakin held up the holocron. "Yes, but we need to see what's inside." Dooku set it on a crate, unlocking it with a surge of a dark energy. A hologram of Palpatine, Darth Sidious, appeared, detailing his plans. Destroy the Jedi, control the Senate, rule as Emperor. Recordings showed him directing Separatist leaders, confirming his duplicity. "This is it," Padme said, her voice trembling with resolve. "We can expose him." Another figure emerged in the hologram, cloaked, voice mechanical. "Master, the clone army is ready. Order 66 is prepared." Sidious nodded. "Good. When the time comes, the Jedi will be eliminated." Anakin's stomach dropped. "Order 66? What's that?" Dooku's face darkened. "A contingency to turn the clones against the Jedi." Padme gasped. "That's monstrous! We have to warn them!" "They won't believe me," Anakin said. "They think I've turned." "Then we broadcast this to the galaxy," Padme insisted. "Let the people decide." Dooku nodded. "There's a communications tower nearby. We can transmit from there." As they prepared to leave, the warehouse doors exploded, and bounty hunters led by Cad Bane stormed in. "Going somewhere?" Bane drawled, blasters drawn. Anakin ignited his lightsaber. "Padme, stay back!" He and Dooku clashed with the hunters, blades flashing. A stray blast streaked toward Padme. Anakin shoved her aside with the Force, taking a graze to his arm. Dooku finished the last attacker, his saber a blur. "More will come," Dooku warned. "We must hurry." At the communications tower, they hacked the system, uploading the holocron's data. But as the transmission began, the screens flickered and Palpatine's face appeared. "Skywalker," he sneered. "Your rebellion ends now." Anakin glared back. "The galaxy will know the truth, Sidious." Palpatine laughed. "Will they? Or will they see a traitor and a Sith?" The tower shook as gunships surrounded it, cannons aimed. "Surrender," Palpatine commanded, "or your friends die." Anakin looked at Padme and Dooku, then to Dooku alone. "Hold them off. I'll finish this." Dooku nodded, heading to the entrance as Anakin restored power. Padme squeezed his shoulder. "You can do this." The broadcast launched, Sidious's plans flooding the holonet, but the gunships fired and the tower crumbled. Anakin shielded Padme as debris fell, spotting Dooku wounded but alive beneath rubble. "We did it," Anakin said, helping Padme up. "The truth is out." Clone troopers surrounded them outside, blasters raised. "Drop your weapons!" their commander barked. Anakin raised his hands. "It's over. The galaxy knows." Then Palpatine emerged, fury twisting his features. "You think this stops me? The Senate is mine. The people will believe my lies." He turned to the clones. "Execute Order 66. The troopers hesitated, then aimed at Anakin and Padme. Before they could fire, Jedi starfighters roared in, led by Obi-Wan, who'd seen the broadcast. "Get to the ship!" Obi-Wan's voice crackled over the comms. Anakin, Padme, and Dooku ran, boarding a transport amid blaster fire. As they lifted off, Anakin glimpsed Palpatine retreating. "This isn't over," he vowed. Aboard, Obi-Wan faced him, guilt in his eyes. "I saw the broadcast. I'm sorry I doubted you." "It's all right, Master," Anakin said. "Now we stop him." Dooku bandaged spoke. "He's still powerful. We need the Jedi and loyal senators." Padme nodded. "I'll rally my allies. We'll resist." As the ship soared away, Anakin felt hope and a growing darkness within, whispering of power and revenge. He pushed it down. For now, he had the purpose, allies, and a fight ahead. The broadcast had ignited a firestorm across the galaxy. From the gleaming spires of Coruscant to the dusty plains of Tatooine, holoscreens blazed with the revelation. Chancellor Palpatine was Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord who had engineered the Clone Wars to seize absolute power. Planets erupted in chaos. Some citizens demanded justice, others clung to denial. The Senate fractured, loyalists to Palpatine decrying the Jedi as traitors, while others rallied to the truth. The Jedi Order, battered and mistrusted, now stood as the Republic's last bastion against tyranny. In the Jedi Temple, the council chambers hummed with urgency. Mace Windu paced before the assembled masters, his dark robes swishing with each step. "We have no time to waste," he declared, his voice a blade of resolve. "Palpatine will act swiftly to tighten his grip. We must confront him before he can turn the galaxy against us." Yoda, perched in his hover chair, tapped his Geimer stick against the floor. "Agreed we are, but cautious we must be. Strong in the dark side, Palpatine is." Obi-Wan Kenobi stood near the chamber's arched window, flanked by Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku, the latter an uneasy ally still regarded with suspicion. "The broadcast has given us an advantage," Obi-Wan said. "His support is wavering. If we strike now, we can end this." Anakin's hands balled into fists, his blue eyes burning. "He's manipulated us all. Me, the Jedi, the Republic. I won't let him escape justice." Dooku, his silver hair catching the light, inclined his head. "Palpatine will not go quietly. He has loyalists in the Senate and the Grand Army. Expect fierce resistance." Mace's gaze snapped to Dooku, his mistrust palpable. "And why should we believe you're any different, Sith Lord?" Dooku's expression remained cool. "Because I, too, have been betrayed by him. His ambition knows no bounds. He would destroy me as readily as he would you. Our survival is linked." Anakin stepped between them. "He's telling the truth. We need him, Master Windu. Palpatine's too strong for us to face divided." A heavy silence fell. Mace's jaw tightened, but he relented with a curt nod. "Fine. We'll coordinate with loyal senators and military commanders. Padme Amidala is already mobilizing support in the Senate. Her voice will be crucial." Yoda's wrinkled brow furrowed. "A plan we must forge. To Coruscant's heart we go, the Senate itself." As the council dispersed to prepare, Anakin lingered, gazing out at Coruscant's endless skyline. The city planet's glow felt dimmer, as if the shadows of Palpatine's deceit had dulled its brilliance. Footsteps approached, and he turned to find Dooku beside him. "You feel it, don't you?" Dooku said, his voice low, the darkness closing in. Anakin nodded, his mechanical hand creaking as he flexed it. "It's Palpatine. Even now, I can sense him reaching out, tugging at me." Dooku's eyes narrowed. "He covets your power, Skywalker. You could be the greatest of us all, greater than me, greater than him. But the dark side is a trap. It promises everything and delivers nothing." Anakin's breath hitched. "I've heard it before, on Mortis in my dreams. It's always there, offering answers, strength, control." "Then you must reject it," Dooku pressed. "Palpatine will tempt you with lies as he tempted me. But you have something I never did, a reason to fight for the light." Anakin's thoughts drifted to Padme, her courage, her love. "Padme," he murmured, "she believes in me, even when I don't." Dooku rested a hand on his shoulder, a rare gesture of warmth. "Hold to that belief. It will guide you when all else fails." Anakin met his gaze, resolve hardening within him. "I won't let him twist me. Not this time." Dooku withdrew, leaving Anakin alone with his thoughts. Hope flickered, but beneath it the storm of his inner darkness rumbled still. The Senate chamber was a cauldron of discord. Senators bellowed over one another, their voices clashing like thunder. Some brandished the broadcast as proof of Palpatine's treachery. Others decried it as Jedi slander. Padme Amidala stood resolute at her podium, her presence a beacon amid the storm. "This is no debate," she said, her voice ringing clear. She held aloft a datapad, its screen glowing with evidence. "Chancellor Palpatine has orchestrated this war from both sides. He must be removed. Now." Senator Orrin Freetaw, his blue skin flushed with indignation, jabbed a finger at her. "This is a Jedi coup. You're destabilizing the Republic." "The Jedi are saving it," Padme shot back. "We have records of Palpatine's dealings with the Separatists, his plans to annihilate the Jedi and crown himself Emperor. Deny it all you like. The truth is out." The chamber's roar intensified, until it stopped. Palpatine entered, his black robes billowing, flanked by crimson-clad guards. Silence descended, thick with dread. He ascended to the central platform, his voice velvet over steel. "My fellow senators," he began, "these are perilous times. The Jedi seek to overthrow our democracy with falsehoods. I will not allow it." Padme faced him unflinching. "The galaxy knows who you are, Chancellor. Your time is finished." Palpatine's smile was a razor's edge. "Is it?" With a flick of his hand, the chamber's doors slammed shut. Clone troopers poured in, blasters leveled. "Arrest the traitors," he commanded. Chaos exploded. Senators dove for cover as blaster bolts seared the air. Padme drew a hidden pistol, firing with precision as she backed toward an exit. Bail Organa and a handful of allies joined her, their shots buying precious seconds. "We need to move!" Bail yelled over the din. Padme nodded, spotting a concealed passage. "Behind the podium! Emergency exit! Go!" They fought their way through, Padme casting a final glance at Palpatine. He stood unmoved, his yellow eyes locking with hers. A shiver ran through her. The worst was yet to come. The Jedi struck with surgical precision. Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and a squad of knights infiltrated the Senate building's underlevels, bypassing the fortified entrances now crawling with Palpatine's forces. Dooku moved with them, his red lightsaber a jarring sight among the Jedi's blades. Blaster fire and the clash of sabers echoed as they ascended. Anakin led the charge, the force flowing through him like a river unleashed. His heart thundered, not with fear, but with purpose. They breached the Senate chamber where Palpatine's loyalists had dug in. Mace raised a hand, his voice a whip crack. "Now!" Lightsabers flared to life. Blue, green, purple, cutting through the gloom. The Jedi surged forward, their movements a dance of deadly grace. Clone troopers fell before them, unable to match their skill. Anakin fought like a tempest, his blade carving a path through the enemy. At the chamber's heart, Palpatine awaited on the central platform, his presence a void of malice. "You fools," he sneered. "You think this ends me?" Mace leapt to confront him, purple saber humming. "It's over, Sidious. Stand down." Palpatine's laughter gritted like broken glass. Never. He thrust out a hand, unleashing jagged bolts of Force lightning. Mace blocked them, his blade absorbing the energy, but the Force pushed him back. Anakin, seeing the struggle, vaulted to his side. Together! Mace grunted assent, and they advanced as one, their sabers a whirlwind. Palpatine met them with terrifying skill, his red blade parrying their strikes, his power a tangible weight. The clash shook the platform, sparks flying with every blow. Through the melee, Dooku wove his own path, his eyes locked on his former master. This was personal. Anakin and Mace pressed their attack, but Palpatine was a force of nature. With a surge of the Force, he hurled Mace across the chamber, the Jedi Master crashing against a wall with a sickening thud. Anakin stood alone, lightsaber blazing. "You're weak, Anakin!" Palpatine taunted, his voice a serpent's hiss. "Join me! We can rule together, bring order, peace!" Anakin's grip tightened, his resolve steel. "You've taken everything from me. I'll never serve you." Palpatine's face darkened. "Then perish." He struck, his crimson blade meeting Anakin's blue in a shower of sparks. The duel was brutal, a clash of wills as much as weapons. Anakin poured his all into every strike, but Palpatine's mastery kept him on the defensive. As Anakin faltered, Palpatine raised a hand, lightning crackling. "Goodbye, Skywalker!" Before the blow could land, Dooku's saber intercepted the bolts, deflecting them in a burst of light. "Not today, Sidious!" Palpatine whirled, fury contorting his features. "You betray me again, Dooku?" Dooku's stance was unyielding. "You betrayed me first. Your promises were ash." Enraged, Palpatine turned his wrath on Dooku, their blades locking with a shriek of energy. Anakin seized the moment, circling to flank the Sith Lord. Together he and Dooku struck, Anakin's raw power complementing Dooku's precision. Palpatine's defenses wavered under the onslaught. In a final gambit, he unleashed a blast of Force energy, knocking both foes back. Anakin recovered first, fueled by defiance. He lunged, his lightsaber piercing Palpatine's guard and driving deep into his chest. Palpatine's eyes widened, a choked gasp escaping him. "Impossible!" Anakin yanked his blade free, and the Sith Lord fell, lifeless to the floor. Silence blanketed the chamber. The storm had passed. The aftermath was grim. Jedi and senators picked through the wreckage, tending to the wounded and counting the dead. Mace Windu, limping but alive, approached Anakin. "You've done it, Skywalker! The Sith are finished!" Anakin's gaze swept the ruined chamber, the bodies of friend and foe alike. "But look what it cost." Padme emerged from the chaos, throwing her arms around him. "It's over," she whispered, her voice trembling with relief. "We're free." Anakin held her, but his mind churned. He had faced his darkness and prevailed, yet its echo lingered, a reminder of how close he'd come to falling. Dooku, leaning wearily against a pillar, met his eyes. "You've saved the galaxy, Skywalker, but beware. The void left by Palpatine will invite new threats. Rebuild with care." Anakin nodded. "And you?" "What now?" Dooku's lips twitched in a faint smile. "I am an old man out of time. Perhaps I'll seek peace in exile." Obi-Wan joined them, his face lined with exhaustion and pride. "The Council has pardoned you, Anakin. Today, you proved who you truly are." Anakin clasped his friend's arm. "Thank you, Obi-Wan. I couldn't have done this without you." As they began to restore order, Anakin looked to the horizon. Dawn broke over Coruscant, its light piercing the shadows. Hope, fragile but real, took root within him. Weeks later, the galaxy stirred toward recovery. Palpatine's loyalists were rooted out, the Senate cleansed under Padme's steady hand. The Jedi, though scarred, reclaimed their role as peacekeepers. A long road lay ahead, but the Republic endured. Anakin stood at a crossroads. The darkness that had haunted him receded, tempered by love and purpose. With Padme beside him, he vowed to safeguard their future, to be the guardian she believed he could be. One evening on their apartment's balcony, Padme leaned against him, her voice soft. "What's next for us?" Anakin looked to the stars, a galaxy reborn in their glow. "We build something better, together." In that quiet moment, with the past behind him and a new day dawning, Anakin Skywalker found peace at last.